Evelyn stood in the dimly lit foyer of the old Ravenswood house, the air thick with the scent of damp wood and something sweetly rotting. Her fingers traced the faded wallpaper, peeling in places like an old man's cracked skin. This was the moment they'd all been waiting for, a new chapter after all the tumultuous years spent in cramped apartments. Moving to the countryside had seemed like the perfect escape. As her friends filtered in, laughter echoed, but it faded quickly when they noticed the crumbling sign on the wall, yellowed and brittle with age. It read, "House Governance, a Guide to Coexistence." They gathered around it, the words seeming to gleam ominously in the low light. The sign detailed peculiar specific house rules, all written in a scrawled hand that was somehow both familiar and foreign. Rule 2, always greet the mirrors, Jenna read aloud, her voice syrupy with mock seriousness. The room fell silent as they exchanged glances, half expecting laughter to erupt, but it seemed to thicken the air instead, like molasses pouring over an empty jar. Later that night, as they settled into the living room, the temperature dropped suddenly. Their breaths misted in the air, fogging the glass coffee table in front of them. They wrapped themselves in blankets, shivering, chalking it up to drafts in the old home. Yet the unwelcome cold lingered deeper in their bones, like fingers plunging into flesh. Mark, attempting distraction, dared the group to explore the upstairs bedroom. The group's laughter became tentative as they crept toward the creaking staircase. Upon reaching the top, they were met with the sight of a door, slightly ajar. They all remembered it being locked when they arrived, the handle stiff against Evelyn's touch. Must have been left unlocked by the last owners, he shrugged, but there was an unspoken disbelief hanging in the air as they inched closer. The door swung open with a soft creak, revealing only darkness, that kind of velvety pitch where even the light seems to shrink away. A shiver ran down Evelyn's spine. Dread pooled in her stomach as she stepped into the room. On the bedside table lay an old photograph in a cracked frame, the faces of a family frozen in time. But one face, a young girl with bright eyes, was scratched out violently, her absence almost palpable. "What kind of sick joke is this?" Jenna whispered, her breath catching. No one answered as anxiety thickened the atmosphere. Dreadful images wormed their way into their minds, distorted echoes of laughter, and the scratching sounds growing louder. It was as if the house itself was awakening from slumber, revealing secrets hidden long before they arrived. The next day they discovered Rule 12, do not speak of her. Frowning at the oddity, they resumed their days of unpacking, but whispers began to slip through their lips. Who was she? It became a refrain, hauntingly echoing against the walls, each repetition twisting the fabric of their reality. That night the scratching returned, mixed with a low, mournful humming that seeped through the walls. They gathered in the living room again, anticipation and apprehension intertwining. The old clock ticked erratically, the sound mocking the silence. And there in the center of the room, Evelyn felt a cool breeze swirl around her, beckoning her toward the mirrors as if they were portals. As they approached, eyes drawn inexplicably, neither spoke, only shivering in dread. Each face reflected showed not themselves, but shadowy figures looming behind them, watching. One stood closer, a little girl, her visage twisted, rage masking her delicate features. In that fleeting moment, Evelyn understood this house had its own connective tissue, a terrible bond with its past, now tightened around them. The door swung shut, cutting off the dim light of the world outside, deepening the shadows. Just as the little girl whispered, "Let me out," a surge of energy jerked Evelyn to the floor, her vision blurring with panic. In that chaos, a shudder surged through her, and she thought back to the first rule: always follow her whispers. It was haunting, yet hauntingly no longer a part of her. Yet she and her friends were no longer in control. They had strayed too close, lost in the echoes that filled the room. In the days that followed, only she remembered the strange whispers, the rules they all scoffed at now. But the house was tied to her, and no matter how far she ran, the memories would cling, like a shadow trailing behind. When Evelyn stood in front of the mirror one last time, trying to reclaim her voice, she caught the reflection of the little girl. With a resigned smile, she whispered back, "I'll find you." The reflection winked, and just like that she understood. Some houses don't just shelter, They keep their tenants forever, collected like a treasure. The Ravenswood house remained, its laughter echoing through the halls once more, revealing an empty room, void of life, but forever haunted by the lost voices that roamed, bound by the silent rules etched into its walls.